A major battle with China underway after Beijing threatened to stop exporting rare earth minerals, which are needed for computer chips for everything from autos to computers and also AI. President Trump also threatened to retaliate by 100% tariffs on China by November 1st in response to a meeting that's scheduled for later this month with President Xi Jinping in South Korea. And joining us now is China analyst as well as author of Plan Red, China's project to destroy America, Gordon Chang. I think we have the book cover there for your book that we can show as well. We appreciate you joining us, Gordon. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Jan.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said that China is trying to bring down the world economy. If we do not step in, is China powerful enough to do that?
Well, China is the second largest economy, world's biggest trader. So yes, they can bring down the global economy if we don't defend it. If we defend it, then we can protect ourselves, our friends and partners, and the rest of the international system, because by the metrics, we are a far more powerful economy. But, the question is, if we believe that we can coexist with China, we're in trouble, because I don't think we can.
Is this just a negotiating tool?
From Bessent's point of view, I think he's finally coming to the realization that China's motives are not what he thought it was or what they were. So I don't think that comment to the Financial Times a few hours ago was a negotiating tool. I think he's starting to understand the maliciousness of the Chinese system.
How does the U.S. have the upper hand here?
Well, first of all, we're the trade deficit country. Last year, China ran a $295.5 billion merchandise trade surplus against us. Trade surplus countries have everything to lose in trade wars. But also, we've got the world's biggest economy. We account for about 34% of global consumer spending, and an export-dependent economy like China, and China's never been more export-dependent in its history, they absolutely cannot replace the U.S. market. Also, we supply some stuff that they can't get elsewhere. So when you add it all up, we've got much more leverage than China has.
And also, China is experiencing quite the economic downturn right now. They're in quite a storm. How bad is it there right now?
It's certainly not growing at the 5.2% pace that they reported for the second quarter. It's more like zero, maybe a little bit above, maybe a little bit below. But the most recent price data we have, which is for August, shows that the country is gripped by deepening deflation. And it's very difficult for an economy to get out of deflation, especially because Xi Jinping's policies are actually accelerating the downward shift.
Gordon, I want to ask you about a big headline that came out yesterday, and that is about this the Dutch government taking over this major Chinese semiconductor company. Tell us what happened here, and also what you are keeping an eye on right now as we see the this trade war happening between China and the U.S.
Well, Wingtech, which is a Chinese company, bought Nexperia a few years ago, and on Sunday, the Netherlands imposed or invoked a never used before law, the Goods Availability Act, and took over the management of Nexperia. They didn't take over the shares, but they did this to prevent China from taking the technology of Nexperia and illegally exporting it to China. Beijing is furious, as you can imagine. But nonetheless, this shows that Western countries are starting to understand what China's been doing with the purchases it has made, not only, of course, in the Netherlands, but around the world, and especially in the United States.
They're doing basically like what you said before, what China has done to these countries for years.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, it's basically the Netherlands is returning the favor.
Gordon Chang, always great to see you, sir. Thanks so much for joining us here this morning on the National News Desk. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Jan.